Hi, my name is Roseanne and thank you for watching this video. We created this video specially for SUSTA, the Southern United States Trade Association. And in the coming few minutes we would like to tell you more about entry strategy to the EU. The EU is an attractive market for US food and drinks. After Canada and Mexico, it's the largest client with $7 billion of export value for consumer goods and seafood. The market with 500 million consumers is one customs zone. This means that when your product enters the EU, it can travel freely all over the different countries. But keep in mind that Europe exists of 28 different countries, all with different consumers, different languages, different habits and different logistics. Therefore, it is very important to study the market and to decide on which countries you will focus. My colleague Victor will tell you more about entry strategy to the EU. We only have a few minutes, so we will give you some insights. Victor, the floor is yours.
Indeed, the European market is a very attractive market for US exporters. But like in normal life, it's all about making the right choices. And that is also for your entry strategy. Because you cannot focus on the full EU market with 28 different countries. You have to make a cluster. The cluster can be Scandinavia, the cluster can be the Benelux, the cluster can be Germany, together with Austria, or the southern countries, Spain and Italy. And it all depends on your choices and on your USP, your unique selling points. Where do they have the most potential? And then you focus upon these countries and not on the EU itself. Because the EU itself, it's one market. Once your product is in, it can travel freely, but it is 28 different countries with different habits, different logistics, different supermarkets and so on and so on. We have not enough time to talk about these different markets, but let's make two general splits of the European market. We have the North-South split. The North is more realistic. Here we say we eat to live, because if we don't eat, we die. So here decisions are rational. We look at other things. Going to the south is different. Here it is live to eat. People eat because they want to live. It's an experience in their life. So they spend much more money of their income to consumer goods and drinks, and they spend more time on it, and they want more emotion. And all these things have to do with your choice. Then we have the East-West split of the European market. In the West, we have the richer, mature market, like Great Britain, Germany, France, Spain. And going to the East, we have our emerging countries. Poland, Czech Republic, Greece, Hungary. Also upcoming markets, but it's a choice. These markets are asking for the more basic products. Again, a choice to make. A very important choice is the choice between food service and retail. Of course, retail is bigger, but food service is very attractive in Europe for US exporters. Why? Because we don't have these much large food chains like you have in America, like Papa Joe's, Taco Bell's and McDonald's. Of course we have these chains as well, but the market for restaurants is much more fragmented and much more owned by smaller owners. So more opportunities to enter the market. Retail market in my country, for the Netherlands, for example, if you have barbecue sauce which you like to export, with 3 buyers in the retail market in the Netherlands, the decision is made, because these 3 buyers decide about 90% of the retail market. So there are other opportunities. Again, a choice to make. Then another thing I like to inform you about. Our European market, our European supply chain is much shorter and different from the US. Why? We like direct lines. You export to an importer. The importer buys the product, he owns the product. There are no agents or brokers, like you call them, who are working on a commission base. These middlemen are not existing anymore. Then the importer, together with the retailer or with the food service supplier, they arrange together the logistics in their country. Also, distributors are not existing. So you see, the supply chain is much shorter. We do not like middlemen. We like direct contacts. An importer in Europe want to see you in the face and want to have contact with you as a producer. And that's only good, because it's better for our margin. So that is a thing to keep in mind. Then moving on to other choices. Terms of delivery, terms of payment. What do you do? How attractive is your product? Do you say to the importers in Europe, if you want my product, you come and collect it at my factory. I put it in your truck, you sell it free on truck. Or do you want to bring your product to the door of the importer in Germany, in Austria, in France, which is much more attractive for the importer? Or you make a choice in between. There are so many choices to make. And what about terms of payment? Because at the end of the day, you want to be paid for your product. You have to realize, if you want to do business in the south, attractive, especially now upcoming for demand for American products, there the terms of payment are much longer than they are in the north. 90 days is not an exception. Plus the time that your product is on the sea. So if you want to have a shorter term of payment, well, you have to focus more on the northern countries. Again, a choice to make for you based upon USPs and your strategy. And you see, by making a focus to 3 countries where you want to find 3 different importers and stay with these importers, focus on these markets, don't look at the same time at other markets, because we see that so often. US exporters are coming to Europe and they meet Greek importers, they meet Irish importers, they meet Scandinavian importers, but at the end of the day there is no focus, and focus is needed also for your labeling. Because if you want to focus on the German market, you have to have a German labeling, which you cannot export to Belgium. So focus is a main thing. And after 3 years, 2 years, when your product is established and the market is growing, then you can say, okay, let's now move to another country. Another item which we often see is the first delivery. You come to Europe, you meet an importer, the importer likes your product, you like the importer, you have discussions with each other, maybe you go to a restaurant and you are very enthusiastic to start a business. And then the importer says, I would like to start with 2 pallets. Wait a minute, you will say, I would like to start with a full container load, because that's much more attractive to export. Yes, both parties are right, but here you have to come to an agreement together. And maybe on the first shipment, you and the importer has to invest a little bit in with the margin. But that is a necessary step, and that is a challenge that we often see, especially for the first delivery. Nevertheless, when you come to Europe, make your planning, make your strategy. It doesn't have to be 70 pages, but just 1 or 2 headlines. What am I going to do? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to stand in 3 years? And then there are enormous opportunities. So we are looking forward to meet you and assist you here on the European market during one of the SUSTA activities, or when you want direct contact with our organization who's working for SUSTA, you're welcome. Looking forward to meet you as soon as possible.
Indeed, we only had a few minutes and we were only able to give you the basis information. But if you have questions, you can always contact us or SUSTA. Do you want to enter the EU market? Please know that SUSTA has a lot of interesting events for you. Please go to the website for the European program or contact your SUSTA contact person. Thank you.